31 wins, 28 by knockout. Would that just throw you off like, oh my God?
I wouldn't say that it messed me up completely, no.
Yeah.
I can't see myself losing. Tell you the truth, I've never ever dreamt about losing. I don't visualize myself losing, and I can honestly tell you, I won't get beat.
No, never?
But that is it.
You ever get a little scared?
I ain't getting beat.
The tale takes off in the new decade of 2000. Marco Antonio Barrera was being portrayed as one of the dying kings in Mexican boxing after his two heartbreaking losses against Junior Jones. Despite coming back and regaining the title in 1998, and coming into the 2000s as the WBO Super Bantamweight champion, ranked at number 2 in the world, Mexican fight fans were starting to gravitate more towards the young rising Mexican star who was ranked at number 1, Erik Morales, as he came from one of the roughest areas in Mexico. Marco was raised in the middle class. His father worked in film production, building sets for television and for film.
He grew up wearing good clothes, you know, he grew up eating good food, he grew up going to good schools.
The area he comes from is pretty nice. It's not really conducive to fighting. It's amazing that he even became a boxer.
Not only it was a Mexico versus Tijuana fight, it's now a white-collar versus blue-collar matchup. So the fight was made for February 19th. This was a WBC and WBO unification, the 9th title defense by Morales with the WBC crown, and the 3rd defense of Barrera with his WBO crown. It was an absolute war between the two. Both guys trying to prove who is the best at Super Bantamweight. Incredibly close fight. Barrera will close off the fight big, but he will come off short on the scorecards to lose by a narrow split decision. Though Barrera lost, he won the respect of many and raised up his stock for bigger opportunities to come, as this fight could have ended up as a passing of the torch and a gradual decline of opportunities. This fight was named Ring Magazine Fight of the Year, and the 5th round would be named the Round of the Year. Morales would immediately vacate the title, and Barrera would be re-awarded the WBO title to continue to make title defenses. Prince Naseem Hamed was the biggest thing to hit American TV, making his HBO debut, delivering knockout after knockout. Incredibly thrilling, TV-friendly performances. Coming into March of 2000, Hamed would dismantle South African legend Vuyani Bungu in 4 rounds. Then to put away Uggie Sanchez in 4 rounds as well to successfully defend his WBO title 15 times. He wanted a big money fight. Since he was a lineal champion, he decided to vacate the title, relieving him of mandatory duties with the WBO. The opponent he was supposed to face, he was not offered much money to fight, so he decided to just vacate the title. So the big question is, who was Hamed going to fight in 2001? You had Floyd Mayweather Jr., who had just came off an amazing performance against Diego Corrales on January 20th, which was a big fight at Super Feather. How Floyd looked against Corrales, who was the man at Super Feather, could pose a huge risk for Hamed, even stated by Larry Merchant, who had doubts such a fight would be made.
You know, I would like to fight Prince Naseem. Hopefully we can meet at 128. Or he can come up to 130. We can fight, or I can fight the winner of Castamayor.
Prince Naseem isn't going to fight you.
Well, everybody want to see
after
that fight.
He saw this, it ain't going to happen.
You know, I really want to fight Prince Naseem, but I know you don't want to fight. But hopefully I can fight the winner of Castamayor and free test.
The next option was Erik Morales and Marco Antonio Barrera. Morales, who won the WBC interim featherweight title in September of 2000 against legend Kevin Kelly, was set to face WBC champion Guti Espadas Jr. in mid-February. So to fill in Hamed's April time slot, that's too much of a short notice. But a fight between the two can potentially happen in the future. That finally leads to Barrera, since HBO was pretty much pressing a fight between either of the two for quite some time.
Barrera and Morales, many observers feel, will be fights that really define you as the great fighter you want to be recognized as.
Yeah. Listen, I tell you, and you know, Larry, that I wanted them in the ring for this fight, and they wouldn't come. But Morales and Barrera will come 2001 when they want it. And when they want it, they'll get knocked out, because I want it now.
On January 23rd, the fight was a done deal and set for April 7th. This would be Hamed's debut on HBO pay-per-view. He was set to make a guaranteed $6 million, which is a lot for a featherweight and still a lot till this day. Barrera was set to make $2 million. This would be Barrera's first fight at featherweight, and right from the start, Barrera was the immediate underdog, set at 3-1. Despite the Hamed training camp in a bit of a hole, Hamed claimed he was 35 pounds overweight coming to training camp, and on top of that, Hamed is taking Barrera very lightly. Emmanuel Stewart, who pretty much has a PhD in the sport, knew Barrera was a completely different man from the Junior Jones fight. He requested to HBO to send Hamed tapes of his recent fights to study. Stewart did not hear any word from Hamed about the tapes, Hamed even claiming he never received the tapes. Stewart reached back at HBO. They told him they sent the tapes out and it was signed for. After Stewart once again confronted Hamed about the tapes and called him out, then the tapes magically appear. So for a bulk of Hamed's training camp, they are literally studying completely outdated material of Barrera, which is the absolute wrong thing to do. It gives you a dangerous amount of confidence, but you don't learn anything from it. You learn the most from studying an opponent at their best, because that is who you will be fighting on fight day. Meanwhile, Barrera is having the training camp of his life. To start fight week off, at the final press conference, both guys will give their final say on the fight. Thanks to Japanese television, we're able to see this rare sight.
I don't know, by caught by decision, but I am ready to win the fight. I have surprise for all the people say that. Well, that's all. Thank you, and I am ready to win the fight. Thank you.
I ain't gonna go on and tell you about points or anything like that. I'm planning a complete knockout, utter knockout. I've trained so hard. I've got one vision, and that is a complete knockout, as I keep telling y'all guys. And there's only one winner, as I always tell y'all guys in every press conference. You're looking at him, easy.
Despite an army of Hamed supporters coming out, little Hamed knew Mexican fans would come out at full force to support Barrera. A pro-Barrera crowd showed up at the weigh-in.
Barrera. Hey, listen, Barrera, they're going to kick his ass to this Naseem. I don't know where they come from, the guy.
Following after the weigh-in, a small dispute erupted during the selection of gloves. Nas was selected green goatskin gloves, and he changed his mind at the last minute and wanted the yellow gloves that Barrera picked out. Once that was finally sorted out, another dispute erupted.
Wait a minute, goddammit! One at a time.
Mills Lane doing a great job of keeping order within high-tension negotiations.
Well, if it's 7 minutes now, you're going to say that's unreasonable, right?
Well, he said he would accept it before.
If I agree 7 minutes is reasonable and it's 10, you'll say, well, we couldn't help it.
If you don't decide that question right now, there's going to be a squabble later. Now, is 4 minutes reasonable?
4 minutes is reasonable.
All right. If it turns out that the timing is 4 minutes, no problem. But if the timing is, if it's more than that, there's going to be a problem. So you got to decide right now what reasonable is.
The person who choreographed the ring entrance for Hamed claimed it will be exactly 7 minutes, which Barrera's team didn't really take his word till rehearsals, which proved they can complete the entrance within a timely manner.
Down. Cue lights. This whole thing shoot straight up. Confetti back and behind you.
Chris, so we confirm that this rail is gone?
Yeah.
There was a slight delay to the main event as Hamed started his hand wraps fairly late. Once Hamed finally got his hands wrapped and warmed up, Barrera was the first to walk to the ring. The champion Hamed will make his grand entrance to appear on stage to step on a floating ring, which he will be carried to the floor of the arena, all while the Wu-Tang Clan track Gravel Pit is playing. Once Nas makes it to the ring, he was about to attempt his signature flip. He inspects the ropes and he noticed the ropes were not stable, so in a rare sight he chooses to not do his signature flip, followed up with a couple disappointed boos from the fight fans. Leading up to Michael Buffer to announce Hamed, he passed the mic over to Hamed where he wanted to honor his father and his family's heritage, where he gave a quick statement in Arabic, which Michael Buffer translated to the crowd. In the rebroadcast of the fight the following week, HBO cut this out entirely, so if you don't have the pay-per-view copy, you may have never seen this. Very, very sneaky, HBO. Round 1. The first minute was rather even, till coming into the 2-minute marker, Hamed gets clocked by Barrera.
Boxing, not just waiting in, gets to the body, wobbles down with a left hook.
Hamed, completely out of rhythm, starts to get swept by Barrera's pinpoint accuracy. Marco's jab was not missing its mark. Later in the first, Marco tastes Hamed's power as he landed 2 hard shots when coming in, but also landed a shot of his own. Marco so far was unfazed by Hamed's power. To finish off round 1, Barrera would end it big, landing some of the best jabs you can ask from a fighter to throw.
Prince Naseem takes several power shots from the Mexican star.
Round 2. Nas is immediately on the offensive to make a statement after being embarrassed in the first. He failed completely trying to catch Barrera with anything. A lot of missing single shots. Despite Marco not really throwing much, he is still up in the round as the first effective shot he threw was a perfect counter to the body and head. Once again, Nas is getting eaten up by the jab. And Maynard Stewart told him before the round started to keep his hands up, and not once he'd heeded his instructions. Hamed would miss by a mile, and Marco would counter him to the body, but in the process, Marco would roughhouse him to the ground. Cortez immediately restored order as it almost got ugly, and the fight resumed. Barrera would land a couple more effective shots before the round ending. Round 3, Nas starts the round off landing the first effective punch, which was a jab and landed a leaping right on Barrera's temple. Barrera took it well and was unfazed. Barrera will come back, will land a perfect 1-2. Hamed was landing some nice shots of his own, but since he was so off balance, whatever Barrera lands is amplified, which is causing Naseem to be outpointed. Hamed would have a much better round, but still come up short. Barrera is 3 rounds up. Round 4, Barrera would win this round completely due to overall work rate and landing big effective shots. Hamed would land one of those leaping shots early, but he's now just looking for one punch. Marco now seeing that, and for the rest of the round, Hamed couldn't land anything worth noting. Round 5 was a lot more technical. Barrera landing the jab and overall the more effective shots. Hamed throwing very little and not landing at the same time. Despite Hamed having the speed advantage, Barrera's timing and seeing that Hamed is telegraphing his shots, it has completely neutralized his offense. Round 6 would be the same, but Barrera is picking it up on power punches. In the closing of the 6th round, Hamed hits Barrera on the break. Before Cortez can even react, Barrera has already clocked Nas, even harder, knocking him off balance. As Hamed walked to his corner, he gives off this snarky look, acknowledging Barrera's actions, saying, "Yeah, you got me there." Round 7, Hamed would start the round off a whole lot better, landing a big counter upstairs. Nas is smiling at Barrera. Barrera shrugs it off, showing Nas that he doesn't care. Marco would later even things up in the round. Nas is doing well and landing, but he's getting eaten up by the jab in the process. If you really want to give the Prince a round so far in the fight, it would have to be this one. Round 8, Hamed was a more active fighter that round, landing effective shots, but what lost him this round was his balance. Whenever Barrera threw, it landed. Hamed was all over the place, completely erasing all the hard work he put in. Round 9 would be the same pattern till the final 30 seconds, when Barrera landed big, nearly knocking Hamed down, mainly due to his poor balance. Round 10 is possibly the most entertaining and competitive from both guys. Hamed is landing effectively, and so is Barrera. Hamed may have actually won that round. After round 10 that woke Barrera up, and in round 11 he really put it on Hamed. The round was a complete shutout. Round 12, Barrera is starting the round off big, embarrassing the champion. The momentum is completely Barrera, but he would foul Hamed into the ropes, thus causing him to be penalized 1 point. Once the fight resumed, Barrera continued right where he left off and finished the fight in style. The final scorecards: Dwayne Ford 115-112, Chuck Giampa 116-111, And lastly, Patricia Morse, 115-112. All three for Marco Antonio Barrera by unanimous decision to become the lineal featherweight champion. The final punch stats, Barrera throwing 534 punches, landing 228 at a whopping 43%. In the post-fight, Barrera stated Hamed doesn't hit as hard as people hype it up to be. Barrera ends the interview off on a wholesome note, as he stated that he was promised a Mercedes-Benz if he won the fight.
Bueno, la verdad está muy feliz. Quiero mandar un saludo a todo México que vio esa pelea. Dar las gracias a toda mi gente y dar las gracias a Ricardo Maldonado porque ganando él me regala un Mercedes-Benz. Ahí está.
Yeah, I want to say hello to everybody in Mexico, and I'm grateful to everybody. And I want to thank especially Ricardo Maldonado because he promised me a Mercedes if I won, and I got one.
Hamed in his interview was asked if the delay leading up to the fight affected his performance, and Hamed disagreed, gave no excuses, and gave Barrera all the credit.
No delay made no effect. The fact is, I got in. The guy boxed probably better than me tonight, and that's it. But the fact is, he's the pure winner tonight. I congratulate him, and that's it. He didn't plan them tactics. He planned to box, and his boxing skills paid off.
He then flirted with the idea of a rematch.
Am I saying I want a rematch? The fact is, I've got a rematch clause in my contract. I'm getting a rematch.
When do you want to fight him again?
It's not that I want one. I'm getting one.
So there was a rematch clause in for this fight, but as months went on, Hamed was less interested in following through. Hamed would have a comeback fight, which was his last on his renewed $48 million HBO deal from 1999. Though he started off well, he fell off to win in a rather uninspiring performance, leaving most of the crowd to boo in the final stages of the fight. This would be Hamed's final fight, and he would retire from boxing with a record of 36-1 with 35 knockouts. Barrera in the following year would finally get his revenge and beat Morales by a close unanimous decision for the WBC title. So that ends it with this tale. I'd like to thank all my patrons who backed me up on this project. For more projects like these, be sure to subscribe to the Patreon, like and share to really get this video out there, and if you're new, subscribe. I'm Alphas Honcho, and I'm out.